a biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Well, let's turn our attention to leaders and more specifically, how to stay focused when the pressure is really on. It's one of the threads that weaves its way through this year's Global Leadership Summit. Now, it's on right now with premier one-day conferences in 15 cities. They've been running already through October and they'll run into November. Thousands of leaders are participating. John Robertson is CEO of Global Leadership Network for Australia and New Zealand. He's joining us. Hey, John, welcome along to 2020.
G'day, Neil. Nice to be here.
Hey, John, your expertise is in resilience in leadership. How do you keep focused? This is what we'll talk about over these coming minutes. There's so much these days that are on the plate of a leader. Sometimes keeping focus is not easy, is it?
Yeah, no, absolutely right, Neil. Keeping focused as a leader is one of the demanding challenges, I think, that is facing every leader in every type of sector. And I think that's because there's just so much coming at you all the time as a leader. We all know that, there's decisions to make, there's pressures to uphold, there's people to, manage and work with and get the best out of. And then you've just got that whole relentless nature at the moment of all what seems like to be a very, very disruptive environment we're trying to work in.
John, there's a bunch of things that a whole host of expert speakers are going to be addressing in this year's Global Leadership Summits. And I can't help but picking up on a few of these, and I'll get your insights here. Because Craig Groeschel, he's emphasising something pretty significant in this year's summits: embrace the power of boring consistency. Hey, we're leaders. We don't want to be bored. What is all that about?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's an outstanding talk, and he just does such a great job because we know he's such a great leader. Craig Groeschel, one of the best, well-recognised Christian leaders and a fantastic leader. But he really just talks about that if you really want a lasting impact, it's not all about the very things that are, the fluff and the bubble and the fancy and the things that are more exciting, but it comes down to being focused and sustained through consistency, not the novelty. And so he says consistency plus faithfulness multiplied by time gives you the lasting impact.
None of us wants to think of our leadership role as boring, but is this a change of mindset you need to have? Because this expectation that you're going to have to go through the motions sometimes to actually achieve something at the end of the day.
I think what is really actually challenging is that, each day upon day is the hard yards that you need to keep turning up for consistently. And those things aren't that the leader always has to be doing something flashy or dramatic. And when we see great leaders, we often only see them for a very small portion of their time. We see them when they're on the stage or the platform. We see them when they might be heard over their podcast or whatever it might be. But really behind the scenes, there's hours and hours of dedicated, focused work that, well, for all intents and purposes, is pretty boring.
For some people, there's a glamorous look to leadership, but this idea of rolling up your sleeves, being in there for the long haul, being consistent, that's got to be one of those things that you've got to adjust your mindset to be prepared for doing the hard yards.
Yeah. And I think potentially this is something that is really a voice to emerging generations from a generation that's gone previously ahead, is to learn from their wisdom as they've been faithfully consistent over many, many years to just say, hey, you know what, guys, it's going to be hard. There's going to be some hard yards ahead, but it's the hard yards that will get you to the impact you're really looking for.
Hey, some of the other ones that have got something similar here, this keeping a focus as a leader. Another one of your speakers, John Cuff, he's doing a segment on avoiding procrastination by giving permission and setting boundaries. What's he talking about?
Oh, look, John Acup is a hilarious person. He is, if you've been to a summit before, we've had him on before, and he really, really is just an exciting speaker. And so not only is he humorous, but he brings with him this message that far too often we delay on what really matters most, and we're stuck between dreams and action, and so we just kind of, procrastinate. So he kind of reframes it as he talks about this whole idea that procrastination is almost like a hidden potential, revealing, keys that unlock creativity and energy and momentum. So, and he does it in such an entertaining way. But it's really good. So he's one to watch out for.
When someone gets to the end of the day and they say, there were so many distractions, I felt like I couldn't get into the real calling that I have. Distractions are something you have to be aware of, and being able to be, in some ways, have the ability to be able to deal with the distractions. Sometimes the distractions get the better of us.
Yeah, and trying to work out the distractions and maybe the God interventions that are there on the way through as well. So remaining open to the things around us, but at the same time, as a focused leader, wanting to make sure that we're probably in control of some of the things that want to get in the road of those focused time. But here's an interesting one, Neil. One of the speakers talks about this. His name's James Hewitt. He's a guy from England, and he talks about the different times of your day and your circadian rhythms, and when you're, we all know whether you're a night owl or whether you're a morning person, and when you're going to be working best. But then in the times you're working best, what are you actually working on? And he talks about the amount of time and production that is lost with constant distractions, as simple as things like your emails remaining open in the background, and the amount of time people spend attending straight away to an email that's there rather than, locking them away for a certain period of time.
I note that he's really touching on some very important issues for leaders, and how to maintain your focus without burning out. Leaders, sometimes so committed to what they do, sometimes workaholics, pushing themselves to the limits, and burnout becomes a real risk. So when you've got your Global Leadership Summit, you've got speakers who are addressing the things that can go wrong. That sort of thing is priceless, isn't it, to understand when you are a leader?
Yeah, absolutely. And the revelation that's coming far too often from people who have suffered burnout as leaders, and they're great leaders, but they've burnt the candle at both ends. They haven't learned about the good work that comes out of rest, and the sustainability that comes to boost efficiency and enhance clarity, and all the good things that come when you create environments where performance is extended or lifted, because you've had the amount of time to take in rest and apply rhythms that work for you, that work for the environment you're working in, to maximise that kind of risk, or kind of balance up the risk that could be involved there by either burning out or just simply disengaging.
There's so many good speakers you have in the lineup this year for the Global Leadership Summit. I mean, when we're talking about Craig Groeschel, he is just outstanding, and lots of listeners will know of him, even outside of Global Leadership Summit. Talk about John Acup, you mentioned James Hewitt. There's some other names on there too. Christine Kane is going to be doing a segment. Also Juliet Funt. Lots of great speakers, and on topics that are so imperative for the Christian leader to be able to be aware of. Hey, just come back to the summit. It's going through October into November, made up of some different things. Right. Here. There's you've got your premier one-day events. They're all over the nation. Right. You've got host your own summit. So even if you can't get to the events, wherever you might be listening to our conversation right now, you can host a summit in your town. How does that all work?
Yeah, so we have what's called local group packages, and that's where you host your own Global Leadership Summit. We make the resource available, the event tools. You can do it up to a 6-month worth of access. You can run a one-day event, or you can spread out the experience across several days, weeks, or even months. It's totally up to you. And depending on the size of your team that you're wanting to, or others that you're wanting to invite in to be a part of this, is dependent on the type of package that you can grab a hold of.
And as you say, even if you can't get to the premier one-day events, even if you don't want to host your own summit and be a part of something that might be a group thing that you could do in your town, your community, you can actually access these on demand, and you can get into those. So how does that work? It's like a 90 days of streaming the material?
That's it. So through the months of November through to February, we have 3 months of access where it's an easy-to-use streaming platform where you can jump on. It's a personalised thing, so it's there for you to be able to do that. And so it really makes it as flexible as you need. You're still getting the world-class pre-recorded speaker sessions that are a part of the GLS, and you get your unique link for personal viewing only. So that's another really flexible way of jumping in.
Well, this is one of those opportunities where you have access to some of the best leadership speakers in the world, and all a part of the Global Leadership Summit, the premier one-day events across the nation through into November. There's the ability to host your own summit, or you can do it on demand, getting all of that detail, 90 days of streaming material. Here's how you can connect with John Robertson, who's the CEO of Global Leadership Network for Australia and New Zealand, globalleadership.org.au. globalleadership.org.au. And this has been going a long time now, something like 30 years, the Global Leadership Summits. There's runs on the board. There are outstanding speakers. globalleadership.org.au. John Robertson, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us today on 2020.
Thanks, Neil, for having me, and it'd be a pleasure to see you at one of our events.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.